Thanks for joining us for this episode, and I do want to remind you to make sure that you are following us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you may listen to podcasts. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@churchadvance, and you can actually watch video versions of each episode. We'd also really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star review and share this content with other pastors and church leaders. We want to help as many of these folks as we can, and so we'd really appreciate you sharing this episode with your friends. Well, thanks again for joining us as we begin today's episode and continue to advance a reformation of fellowship, partnership, and gospel hope amongst Bible-believing pastors and churches. This is Church Advance with Bryan Sams.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to the Church Advance podcast. We are praying that this year is filled with God's blessings for both you, your family, and your church. And we're looking forward to a new season of episodes with lots of great content. And I think it's going to be a fantastic year for all of us. Now, I wanted to take this first episode of the new year and give you some exciting updates and plans for the Church Advance Conference right here at River City Baptist Church in February of this year, just about 6 or 7 weeks away. I know many of you are making your plans to be there. Some have already got their travel arrangements and their registrations. We'll have links to all of those things in this episode. But we're doing things a little bit different this year. Let me explain and then kind of walk you through what we're going to do at this year's conference and why it's going to be so exciting. First of all, I want to announce that this is going to be our final year doing the Church Advance Conference. And the main reason why is because, I guess there's two reasons why. First of all, my friend Pastor H.B. Charles is restarting his pastors conference right here in Jacksonville, Florida in the fall. And as many of you know, he and I are great friends, and I've just decided to pitch in all of my efforts to join him and be a part of that conference. That's in September, starting in 2023, and I hope all of you will make your plans to attend that amazing conference on expository preaching at Shiloh Metropolitan Baptist Church right here in Jacksonville, Florida. I love Pastor HB, and we are looking forward to being there. I'll be speaking there and just joining in with the effort that he's already got going, which I think is going to be an enormous blessing to all of those in attendance. We've been before, and we're going again. Of course, that conference kind of ceased at the COVID pandemic 2020. And I'm so thankful that in 2024, they are cranking that conference back up. The second reason why we're going to discontinue a conference here at the church is just simply to try to really stay on our mission as a local church, but also to really just put our efforts in right here at the podcast. And we're going to do more this year. And I know that we can reach a whole lot more of our audience just through the podcast. And I know that many of you have enjoyed coming here, and you're always welcome to come here. And maybe we'll do some smaller fellowships in the future. We do plan on a small day and a half, really concentrated meeting in 2025 that's going to focus just on preaching. But for the most part, we're going to pitch in all of our efforts right here at the podcast, as well as our ongoing communication with many of you through email, through phone calls, and through text messages, just continuing the conversation about advancing the church into the future. And it's been awesome. And I do hope that you'll come and join us for this final effort as we look with some excited anticipation about what is going to happen at the conference. So that is the first piece of news. This is the final Church Advance conference. But the second thing I really wanted to do at the beginning of this year is I really wanted to talk you through what we are doing at this year's conference. It is going to be unique. It's going to be different. The schedule is going to be different. We're adding a few really amazing pieces. And so let me just start by walking you through the schedule of what's going to take place here. First of all, on Wednesday, we're going to have a fellowship here at the church. It's going to be a coffee and dessert fellowship that evening for all of those of you who have already made your travel plans to come in and be there on Wednesday. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to talk shop. We're going to have a informal fellowship time, welcoming you to our city, welcoming you to our church. And I'll be sharing some truths and some thoughts that night. But it's really just to have some fellowship with our audience. Instead of having a full service that night, we're switching to having a fellowship time right here at the church. And then, while that sounds like we may be scaling back, actually, we are packing the same amount and even more, actually, of content, of discussions, of teaching times into these 2 days, Thursday and Friday. And so let me walk you through Thursday. Thursday is going to be the official registration for the conference from noon to 2 o'clock. And if you're already in town, you can certainly get your information on Wednesday night. But those of you that haven't made your travel plans yet, you can make your plans to be here between noon and 2. Excuse me, starting at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. We are having several sessions for pastors and also for pastors' wives. I'm thankful that Mike and Alana Brown are going to be joining us from Milton, Florida. And Alana does a tremendous job with ladies, and she's going to be leading those couple of lady sessions on Thursday afternoon. And then for the rest of us, we're going to have 3 back-to-back teaching and discussion panel times really revolved around 3 subjects. We are going to be discussing the healthy church. We're going to be discussing making adjustments in an existing church. And then we have a special discussion for everybody at 4 o'clock, which is going to be the pastor, his family, and his finances with Nate Skelly. And that is going to be a tremendous session. I have heard Nate talk about pastoral finances, the future, savings, and all of those things. And I think it's a goldmine of information, and you won't want to miss that one at all. Then we're going to go right into dinner. Right here, dinner's included with the cost of your conference. And then right back in the auditorium at 6:30 for a special worship service led by our River City worship team. The preaching of the Word of God by Pastor Kurt Skelly. And we're also going to feature a time of ordination for 2 of our men at our church in that service. And I know that it's going to encourage you to see what God is doing and to encourage all of us to continue to multiply, train others, and work for the gospel together. And so that's Thursday, going to be jam-packed in there, and it's going to be just a fantastic time. We're going to be done by about 8 o'clock that night. It's going to give you plenty of time to go out and enjoy some fellowship, some time here in Jacksonville. We have a whole room that is a delegate lounge. It's got coffee and tables to fellowship in and places to sit and use the internet, do whatever you need to do. And that's going to be open the whole conference. And then we're going to come into Friday. And Friday is really where the big change is. And I am just beyond excited to announce this today. And that is that all day Friday, we have the privilege of hosting Pastor H.B. Charles for a full day of teaching and preaching. Last October, Pastor H.B. started back his Cut It Straight ministry concept, which is, of course, his national conference, but also they are beginning to host a few what they're calling Cut It Straight intensives in different places of the country. We are privileged to host a Cut It Straight intensive in conjunction with the Church Advance Conference. So on Friday morning and Friday afternoon, we are going to be able to sit and learn about preaching and about pastoring from Pastor H.B. Charles Jr. A full day. And guys, listen, this is a real golden opportunity for you to come and learn from an author, from maybe one of the most nationally sought after speakers in any kind of conservative Baptist church movement at all. He's a great friend. He's down to earth. And you're going to get to sit and listen to a man pour into us for an entire day. And it's a rare opportunity to be able to get Pastor HB for that entire day, but we are looking forward to it. There'll be lunch, there'll be breakfast actually provided, lunch provided, plenty of breaks in the action for you to interact with me, certainly with Pastor HB and others that are going to be participating, but primarily all day Friday is going to be in partnership with H.B. Charles Jr. and the Cut It Straight ministry, and it is going to be a full and fantastic day. Now, the difference is we're not really breaking for the afternoon. We're just going to go at it all day long, and I thought this was a good trade-off to be able to get Pastor HB with us all day. And then we're going to come in for one final dynamic worship service on Friday night, featuring, first of all, of course, the preaching of Pastor H.B. Charles. All of you that have come in the past have expressed just how wonderful it's been to sit and listen to this man preach. And I know it is going to be a special occasion for all of us to hear from what I believe to be one of the greatest preachers of our day. And then, just as a bonus, a little bit of icing on the cake, we're also going to have that night a concert from the Irwin family. We're going to link up to their website here in this show notes. Guys, I don't know if you've heard the Irwins. They are a young family of singers. They're tremendous. They're highly sought, and we're privileged that they're going to join us for Church Advance. So we're going to have a special concert. Lots of guests from the community will be joining us. It's going to be great. And guys, we are packing in more sessions and more dynamic elements to the Church Advance Conference this year, just to make it special for our final time together. I want to thank Pastor Kurt Skelly and Pastor HB for joining me for this event. I know you're going to be blessed. Again, you can register from now all the way up through the conference. And if you have any questions, my personal contact will be in the show notes as well. We're going to be pushing out the updated information to you, to our audience this week, and we just look forward to hosting you. If I can help you in any way with the conference, with any questions, please let me know. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to you joining us on February 7th, 8th, and 9th, right here at River City Baptist Church, Jacksonville, Florida, for the Church Advance Conference. God bless you.
Thanks again for joining us for this episode, and we really would appreciate it if you could leave us that 5-star review, and then of course share this content with your friends. We want to help as many pastors and church leaders as we can, and be sure to, of course, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you may listen to podcasts. And go ahead and subscribe to the Church Advance YouTube channel at youtube.com/@churchadvance. This podcast is hosted by Bryan Sams. It is co-hosted and produced by myself, Luke Clayton, and the team at mustincrease.com. If you want to connect with Bryan, be sure to head over to his website at bryansams.com. Well, we really look forward to seeing you again in the next episode as we continue to advance a reformation of fellowship, partnership, and gospel hope amongst Bible-believing pastors and churches right here on Church Advance with Bryan Sams.